If you're familiar with my channels, you'll know my favourite Sea-Gull movement is the ST2130. Sea-Gull uses this movement in watches costing upwards of £500. It is a legal clone of the ETA 2824. On the whole, they are beautifully regulated movements, beating at 28,800 beats per hour. They hack, they hand wind. I've handled a number of watches containing this movement, and on the whole, they've all been very, very accurate. And if you are regular viewers of my content, then you'll also know that Berny, despite its questionable branding, produces some of the most popular and best value for money watches available on AliExpress. Now, imagine if those two things came together. Imagine if Berny produced a watch containing the ST2130. It would almost certainly be the cheapest watch available containing this incredible movement. Well, you don't have to imagine it because it's happened, and in today's video, I'm going to head over to the Lightbox and show you this watch. Well, after I filmed that introduction, I realised I'd sort of set myself up for a bit of a failure, having spoken so highly of this movement. Yeah, I was going to look like a bit of a fool if I put it on the Timegrapher, and it was running dreadfully, but luckily enough, Sea-Gull haven't let me down. This movement is running beautifully well, incredible accuracy on the Timegrapher, very strong amplitude and decent beat error as well. So yeah, the ST2130 strikes again. So what do you think of the way this one looks? I think it looks quite good. It's a fairly classic looking watch, sort of vintage retro inspired pilot's watch. If you don't like this particular color combination, then they make a blue one, a black one, a green one, and then this one, but with sort of tinted orange numerals on the dial. It's sort of more retro or vintage inspired. But yeah, this is the one I asked for because I prefer the whiter numerals on the dial and the more sort of classic or neutral colours, if you like, sort of tan leather strap. It is a genuine leather strap. There it is, look. Genuine leather, branded Berny, and the buckle is stainless steel and is also branded Berny. And I think it's a fairly nice strap, quite soft and supple and malleable straight out the box. Some nice stitching. It's got a nice feel to it as well. It does feel nice and soft. So yeah, I'm quite happy with the strap. I've had a close look at the steel finishing, and I've got to say it looks pretty good on this watch. Berny really do make some of the most affordable watches on AliExpress. So their steel finishing is good. It's not amazing, it's not great, it's just good. But on this watch, I think they've stepped it up a little bit actually. The polishing seems a little bit brighter than I would normally expect. And the transitions between the brushed and polished finishing, although not amazing, does seem pretty good. Decent specifications as well. I'm pretty sure Berny have been known to provide watches, really affordable watches, with sapphire sandwiches. So sapphire in the back and the front. So I'll be testing both pieces of crystal in a moment, and I'll put the dimensions on the screen when I show you the watch on my wrist. Screw down case back, pull push crown, 100 meters of water resistance. Oh yeah, quick release spring bars in the straplet. That's always useful. No drilled lugs, but yeah, most straps these days have quick release spring bars, and they've even gone to the trouble of signing the rotor look. That's pretty cool. Yeah, some specifications around the outside, and you can see clearly through to the Sea-Gull ST2130. I can't tell you how excited I was to see this movement inside this watch. Yeah, I love this movement. I think it's fantastic. Incredible value for money movement. When you buy in watches that are more affordable, like I've already said, Sea-Gull do use this movement in watches costing upwards of £500. But yeah, if you can pick this movement up in watches costing around $150, then why not? I think it's a fairly nice looking watch actually. They've got the proportions of the case and the bezel and the crown guards and the dial. Yeah, bang on. The hands may be a touch too short, but not too short. I'm not thrilled about the colour of the lume on the hands. I worry that that will weaken the lume, but we'll find that out in a moment. There's some texture on the dial as well, and it's a fading dial, so it's slightly darker around the outside. You've got a 5-minute track around the outside with your standard Roman numerals, date complication at the 3, look. Yeah, and some text on it as well, which has been sort of bordered on these flat raised surfaces. So yeah, quite a bit going on. Now, I think it's worth pointing out this is essentially a version 2. They actually released this watch many, many months ago. And as soon as I saw it, I asked them to send me one for review, and they were reluctant to because they had discovered a bit of an issue with the case and the crown. I think there was some sort of issue with winding up the movement. So they've been busy basically remaking this watch and producing a newer version with a newer case, which has solved that problem. So yeah, this is now essentially a version 2, although I don't think they're promoting it on AliExpress as a version 2 because I don't think much has changed other than them fixing a potential issue with the crown. And I don't think it was an issue on all of the watches, all of the version 1 watches, I should say. I think it was just an issue that some people were having. So yeah, nice to see them correcting that potential issue. That's always reassuring, isn't it? It's now time to test the Lume, and we can see why the Lume on the hands is a different color during the day. So I don't suspect it's going to last particularly well, but let's let it sit there for 5 minutes and see what happens. Well, that's been around 5 minutes, and the hands are still very visible, and so are the numerals. So, yeah, that's actually performed better than I was expecting. And here it is then on my roughly average sized wrist. Yeah, I'm quite impressed with the strap actually. It is conforming to my wrist very nicely, straight out the box. No need to soften this one up prior to wearing it. I like the look of it and the feel of it as well, actually. So yeah, they've not gone for a super cheap feeling strap, and I like the overall look of the watch. Not much to be offended by really in terms of its appearance. It's well proportioned, fairly simple and classic looking. Yeah, I'm really not a fan of the orange Lume on the hands. I know why they've done it. It looks better on the watch with the tinted or coloured Lume on the numbers because it matches better. Yeah, it looks a bit weird with the Lume on the hands being a different colour to the Lume on the numbers. But yeah, overall, I'm impressed. It's fairly light and comfortable, and it sits fairly flat on my wrist, so no issues getting this one under a cuff. Yeah, another impressive offering by Bernie. Well, I'm going to wrap this up while I give you a close-up of the movement that I've made such a fuss about. And there it is, although you can see it through the display case back, of course. I thought I'd yeah, take the case back off and give you a good look. And it's just occurred to me I haven't tested the crystals, so let me do that quickly before I end the video. Now, while I've got the case back off, I'm actually going to test both sides of the crystal in the case back because I've had people in the past claim that these AliExpress watches have sapphire coated crystals, which if that is the case, you would expect it just to be positive on the outside. But yeah, as you can see, that is sapphire on the inside and on the outside. Nice. Let's carefully test the crystal on this one, and there it is. Yeah, sapphire sandwich. So yeah, another fantastically well spec'd watch by Bernie. Now I'm gonna put the case back on before I start pressing stuff. Thankfully, I managed to get the case back on before I jammed my finger into the movement. Right, guys, let me know what you think of this watch in the comments section and the content as well. If you enjoy my videos, please, guys, don't forget to click that like button and subscribe. I really would appreciate it. It would really, really help out. And yeah, if you enjoy my water resistance tests, head over to I Like Watches too, because I've started to produce dedicated videos where I test watches like this to see if they are safe to swim with, and I'll almost certainly be testing this watch along with lots of other AliExpress and non-AliExpress watches in the near future. So yeah, make sure you head over to I Like Watches too and subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Right, guys, thank you so much for watching. As always, I do appreciate it. Take care, guys. Look after yourselves. You'll see me again very, very soon.